Good afternoon and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachus, to another Quran of the Muslims analysis and breakdown. But we're not going to be going through any more verses. I was planning to, but I didn't have time. I had some surprise guests from my landlord and from the court system regarding the attack a couple of weeks ago, so I won't go into detail about that, but that's taken up all of my time until right now. So rather than go into the specific verses, I thought let's just have a little think about what was in this morning's episode. So what was in this morning's episode was more details on how Muslims in their mosques and actually at home, through the words of Allah in his Arabic Quran, you know, the one they actually used, not the English one, the accurate Allah written one, because the English one wasn't written by Allah, he makes that clear, he only writes in Arabic. The instructions he gives to the mothers to give to the children is clearly instructions for war. The Holy Jihad, the cause of Allah, the end times genocidal prophecy, in which everyone who doesn't bow to only Allah and fully surrender to his Quran will should be killed in all countries. And this is what's happening right now. We know they've already started positioning themselves by filtering into all the different countries. And the next stage is going to be the stealth jihad, leading to the full jihad when they start cutting everyone's heads off openly in the street and preaching the word of Allah. So how do we know this has already started? Well, we can tell. I can certainly tell from my comments, because on one hand, all the comments you don't see, you know, the hundreds of comments that are filtered out automatically by my word lists, they contain the threats of death and beheading and violence and the horrible racist things that the Muslims have to say to me, simply for the fact that I'm reading their Quran and I'm not a believer. That's a huge crime against Allah. That's worthy of killing someone over in their eyes. And they let me know this on a regular basis, every single day, in hundreds and hundreds of comments. But then the other side of it that you do see is those same Muslims appearing in the comments with non-filtered comments, trying to come across really politely and say things like, oh, you're just mistaken, you've interpreted it wrong, oh, the context is wrong, oh, the translation's wrong, oh, there's some reason why. No, don't listen to this guy, it's all fine, everything's going to be fine. Nothing to see here is the message. But they know as well as I do, I'm not going to release their other comments which were filtered out because they are too violent for people to read. And actually, YouTube would penalise me for having released those comments. So what are we supposed to think? If on one hand they're claiming to be friendly, coming to us with open arms and smiles and saying we want to be your friends, we want to live in your country peacefully, we're a religion of peace. But then on the other hand, preaching this to each other and brainwashing their children into a state of panic and war in which they think the righteous thing to do would be to kill us all and then cheer over our dead bodies. What are we supposed to do? Wait for the motorbike idiot to go past. Don't buy a motorbike. It's just a child's toy. It's so frustrating. So anyway, back to the point at hand. What are we supposed to do with these guys when they are that sneaky and dishonest? Well, there's nothing we can do about them. We just have to wait for nature to take its course, which it definitely will. But the thing we should do is focus on ourselves. We have to make sure we're not dragged in, because part of their plan is to make us look bad. How do they do this? Well, they plant false accusations against our names and they try to ruin our reputation and they try and corner us with insults and they try and make us feel bad so that we join in with their voice against our own interests. That's what the positioning and the stealth jihad is. It is getting the support of the victims that you're later going to kill. And that's what we see in Israel. Israel were big supporters of religious freedom. They have many, many mosques in Israel built as a gift to the Muslims to try and offer them a twig of, an olive branch, a twig of peace. But we saw how that went for them. And they were the world's foremost example of offering the hand of friendship to Muslims openly, letting them have call to prayer towers in the middle of Jerusalem, letting them have mosques next to every synagogue. And in the end they were slaughtered. Prisoners were taken, raped, beaten and killed, and then paraded on social media as if this is some kind of artwork, some kind of moral duty. And even now, Muslims are so deceitful and full of lies. They are spreading throughout the world media this corrupted view that for some reason the Jews deserved what they got and actually it wasn't anything to do with Islam. It wasn't anything to do with Muslims. Oh yeah, it's just Al-Qaeda or it's just ISIS. It's just these little small splinter groups. They're not the real Muslims. Apart from if you ask Allah. Allah's the one that decides who a real Muslim is, not Muslims. Allah decides in his Arabic Quran, which is the one we've been reading, this one, who is the real Muslims. And guess what he says? The real Muslims are the ones in Palestine, Hamas, Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that want nothing more than you and I and our families beheaded, bleeding out into the ground, so that all our stuff can be collected and rewarded back to the Muslims. Because remember, Allah says the world and all its resources are a bounty for Muslims only. It's not for us. If we have it, we've stolen it. That's exactly what Allah says in here. So like I say, in conclusion, we have to be tough. We have to accept the truth, even though it's a horrible truth. We have to accept that's what it is. We have to not listen to their many, their defiance and their lies and their denials, which they will use. We have to ignore the English translations of the Quran. We have to ignore Quran.com and the Google translation, which we have proven on this very channel in the last 110 episodes is completely false. And we have to stick to Allah's word as he himself tells us in Arabic. This is what he says. This is Allah talking, not English, not French, not German, not the internet. This alone. And that's why we know Islam must be stopped. Otherwise, they are going to come and kill all of us. And if we don't want that to happen, whether you're Christian, atheist, Buddhist, Sikh, Hindu, whatever else you are, if you're not a Muslim and you don't want them to come and take over your country and kill you and cheer over your dead body and then in history record that you were an infidel and you deserved what you got, if you don't want that to happen, you need to be as wise as wolves, but also gentle as a dove. And that means being ready for what's coming and having a plan. And that's what this channel is all about. So I hope you took on board what I'm saying and you learned something, you enjoyed hearing this. God bless you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. That was like the easiest video I've ever made, but the point stands and it's a very important point. Let's not get caught short. Let's not have happen to us what's happened to so many other people. Let's defend our culture and our rights and be blessed. So that's all for now. See you tomorrow. Bye now.